It's a cool rainy night here in Winchester, Virginia, as we rapidly approach the end of spooky season here, as October 28th, 2025, Week 6 of NECC Marvel Rivals is upon us, and Shenandoah University looking to continue their run and stay above the 500 mark. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Clayton, joined alongside Chase Newcomb for my first time with you, I believe, on camera, as we will be taking you through a very exciting Marvel Rivals matchup and an important one for the rest of our team season.
Oh, absolutely. We were pushing at the beginning of the season for a little bit of undefeated sauce, and we're almost there. We're not quite in the undefeated level, but we are certainly positive, like you said, above that 500 level. And oh boy, is our roster pumped to get into the game tonight. There's been a lot of prep ahead of time for this game. As always, I can't reveal too much on stream because I am heavily involved with the team this season. We'll leave it at that. But I can tell you, head coach Danny McCloskey, he's been cooking. He's got that big old pot stirring.
I love to hear that, personally, because as you all know at home, if any of you tuned into our in-house, you know that this is not, admittedly, I'll be the first to say, not my most familiar game. So I'm looking forward to learning as much as I can. If those of you at home tend to follow along, you also probably know that Marvel Rivals is not a usual thing here on a Tuesday night. And I want to take a moment to mention that our Smash team did get a win earlier today by way of forfeit, which means we're here to cast one of our Academy teams, which is going to be a ton of fun. So, like we said, an important match here tonight as this team looks to continue their momentum. And let's take a look at the group standings and show you why this match is important. As you see at number 2, Shenandoah University tied in record with 2 other teams at 3-2.
Yeah, and Old Dominion was who we faced last week. And unfortunately, we fell to Old Dominion. So they do have us in the head-to-head record. The only team that currently is undefeated is University of Southern Indiana, the only other team that we have also fallen to. Northern Illinois at the bottom of the pack. So if we do lose to them, to your point, Chris, that's going to be a tough time for our team, putting us now in a 3-3 situation and losing to one of the bottom teams currently in the standings.
Yeah, exactly. I don't love to get caught up in numbers, but you got to win the ones that you're supposed to win, and good teams certainly do, and Shenandoah looking to prove that they are a good team with a big win here tonight. Let's look at the head-to-head for these two teams. Again, numbers certainly favoring that team on the left. The Shenandoah Hornets taking 11 maps over only losing 6. And that story, unfortunately, far from true for NIU.
Yeah, in the 6 games lost, I think that's an important stat line to bring up because 3 of those was the match that we faced against Old Dominion. And unfortunately, we did go 0-3 in that series. We're, looking at the VOD review, looking at what they're cooking up this season, and patiently awaiting the rematch. But when you take that out of the factor, now that leaves 3 games kind of spread out throughout the season, those being maps that we've lost sort of here and there, picked up along the pieces. So very excited to pump those numbers up a little bit this week, Chris.
It's exactly why I don't love getting caught up in the numbers, because those numbers don't tell that story. That is a great point, that this team has been nearly perfect for most of the season, but laid an egg last week against Old Dominion, certainly looking to bounce back against this team here today. NIU standing across the line. We have their expected roster here tonight, and I am going to bounce this off you to see, obviously you only have to say however much you're comfortable saying.
Sure.
But what do we know about this team other than the numbers we just looked at?
So that's fair. I mean, I could tell you the publicly available information, which is we know that this is our starting roster going into tonight. They do have quite a big roster. There's actually 3 players who's not mentioned on here at all. And that's because they didn't start last week, right? So we have pretty comparable team size. We have a team size of 8. They have right around 8 to 9 on their roster as well. A lot of them play Cloak and Dagger. So we're probably going to see quite a bit of Cloak and Dagger tonight, I would anticipate. And Winter Soldier, Invisible Woman, we might see those come out on top. But the roster you see in front of you, that was the starting roster last week, and they also played Old Dominion, and I think had just as much of a good time as we did playing Old Dominion.
I can only imagine what that means. But now we look across the line once again to our familiar roster here that we've now seen at least once on our main broadcast, as well as scattered throughout the in-houses and doing other roles here in the program. Robot Ninja, Ultra Lee, Doughboy, Bruh Joes, Kangaroo Feet, and is that Spook Pasito?
Spook Pasito.
That's a
yes.
fun one.
Yes, like Despacito, but spooky.
Yeah. Seasonal.
Yeah, very seasonal. Yeah, and there you see him, webcams on. Stoked for this roster to compete tonight. A couple of our players are out at DreamHack this upcoming weekend working, so not all of the players that we usually have. Bruh Joe's, his jersey being wrong should be Bruh Joe's. I don't know what happened there, but number 27 sitting, one of our tank players in the lineup. And I love that we're actually getting player cams this time around for the Rivals roster. Earlier in the season, it was a little bit early when we got on broadcast, so we didn't necessarily have all of the assets yet together to put them on stream like we do now. And shout out to Prod for showcasing what they got going on the back end, because these players deserve to be highlighted for all of their efforts. Like you said, it is an academy team. They don't get on that forefront as much, but man, oh man, they've been putting in the time this past semester trying to reach that coveted varsity status.
Yeah, always a pleasure to see fresh faces on this broadcast, especially when week in, week out, we get to follow our Super Smash Brothers and our Rocket League varsity teams through their seasons, which have both been very exciting. But glad we get this opportunity to sort of peer in to see how our other teams are doing, especially this Rivals team that has garnered so much interest on campus and so much structure compared to quite literally zero just last semester. This team has really come up from nothing, and they've been a lot of fun to follow so far.
Yeah, it's been great. And there's a great mix of players on the roster. We got returning players in the program. We have new players that have never even been involved with esports in any capacity. We got freshmen all the way to senior. So when we put out tryouts this past semester, we had a good variety of people show up. I want to say it was like 16 total showed up for tryouts, and we had to pick 8. That was when the rubber met the road, was picking the 8. So these are the folks who have stayed the test of time throughout the rest of the semester and have been diligent with what they have been competing in and practicing throughout the semester.
Yeah, so I do want to take a moment to talk about, you sort of started to talk about it. DreamHack Atlanta is going on this upcoming weekend.
And
24
Esports
hours.
Summit.
Oh, yes, absolutely. 24 hours from now, I will be down there as well. And so I'm curious how that affects our roster. You said, we've got a couple different faces than we're used to. Does this team have like a solidified starting lineup that we're not seeing tonight, or is this roster pretty fluid from game to game?
I would say right now it's pretty fluid from game to game. I mean, admittedly, and this should be no surprise, this is a new team. This is a brand new team, and part of building a brand new team with folks on the roster who've never been on a competitive esports roster is taking those steps that, you were given in traditional sports that you weren't given in esports in 2025, right? So going through the process of this is how you form, norm, storm as a team. This is how you communicate. This is the difference between playing ranked and playing as a team, which are two very different things. So it's been a lot of sort of catching up, getting everyone on the same page first as a competitive roster. So because of that, it's been very fluid this semester. There should be, moving into next semester, a little bit more solidness and more of a honus on the players to determine sort of what that starting lineup is going to be. Obviously, Coach Danny is involved as well, but ultimately, a lot of it has been put on, the players to communicate with each other, sort of determine that, because they're a new team. And I think having the capability to say, hey, we have a say in this, and this is what our say is, you're going to be a lot more passionate about the team if you are more involved, rather than someone going, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that, blah, blah, blah.
Right, and I have to say that excites me a lot, knowing that this team is sort of finding their feet and, competing for their spots every week and still finding the amount of success that they have. I mean, that seems to me like such an easy cop-out to be able to say, yeah, we're still, forming our team, forming our structure, forming our fundamentals, and we haven't been getting the results, but we're going to get there. But that's not true for this team.
I want to flex too. Most new teams, and I've been coaching now for over 10 years, most new teams that you're putting together, there's going to be some sense of ego when you get taken off or put on the bench for someone else playing. There's been no ego. Looking at the camera, anyone watching, maybe doing some scouting, our players have zero ego and their mentals are through the roof. So I think that is a huge flex because that is not often that happens with new teams.
That is incredible. And if any of our players are listening, do not let that ego start now that you hear that.
No commentary curse. No commentary curse.
Yeah, but don't let it happen now. We're getting word that we have our first map pick in, so we can take a look at our projected 5-game series of tonight, assuming we don't get any ties, because that was something that happened in our in-house that I didn't even know was possible. But as you see on your screen, Celestial Husk, the first map we will see in this series. And Chase, walk me even through the selection process of how we even got to Celestial Husk as our first map.
Yeah, very fair. So think if you've ever watched Overwatch competitive, it is in the exact same vein as Overwatch competitive. The away team bans a domination map. Home team selects the first map of the match from the map pool. For hero pick ban purposes, the away team will select Team A or Team B for hero pick ban. So we first start on a domination match, then we go to convergence, then we go to convoy. Domination is, 3 different points, sort of King of the Hill style. Convergence is that hybrid sort of style, and then convoy is just sort of straight payload. So you're just straight pushing the point from the gate. And now it seems as though we are getting into the pick ban phase.
Yes, so loading into our second decision-making process of this draft, loading into our first map here. You can see the hovered options, the preferences, if you will. And now I do, again, want to dive in a little bit. You started to mention we know that this NIU squad loves to play picks like Cloak and Dagger and certain just favored picks across the team. Is this where you start to maybe knock out some of those picks, or do you maybe leave them open? Obviously, again, you only have to say what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the cool thing about this is you don't just ban characters, you ban and then you save a character. So you can see that they banned Moon Knight and Hela, and they chose to save Groot and Spider-Man. So the top, we covered it with the side switch, but blue is Shenandoah for this map's purposes. Orange will be NIU. In NIU, we can see both sides because we're in spectator, but in client, each team can only see their own picks, so you actually can't see the other team's picks right now. They're basing their picks off of the scouting that they did ahead of time, and this is par for the course, I'll say, Chris. This is pretty much what I expected talking with Coach Danny before the series tonight and speaking with the team. This picks and bans on the other side also don't surprise me for what NIU is deciding to move in their direction.
Interesting. So you say the other team can't see your picks. Do you mean what they're hovering or what they're
hovering.
locking?
Yeah, okay. What they're hovering. You can see the picks on the other side, the picks and saves. You just can't see what the team is hovering above.
I see.
And you hover that before you actually... So they can't change their hover right now. You can only hover before you start pick ban.
Interesting. All right. Fair enough. Well, no major surprises here, it seems, although there is our Cloak and Dagger ban that I was sort of alluding to earlier. So maybe not as much of a surprise there, as I'm sure NIU is probably used to seeing that with the lineup that they have.
Yeah, speaking of the lineup they have, Chris, I'm a little surprised that they're starting Senior Ant, because Senior Ant has not started on this roster thus far this semester. Last week it was Gamer Legume that started. Sure. Yeah, so Senior Ant being in, a bit interesting. Look at both rosters, though. You'll see that there are some popular picks on both sides. We're getting the Winter Soldier from both Robot Ninja and Soft, and we are getting the Rocket Raccoon from Spook Pasito and Senior Ant. Additionally, Doughboy will be on the Invisible Woman, as will Lil Moses. So, a little bit of a difference in the tank lineup this week. Kangaroo Feet also swapping to tank this week. Going to be on the Groot, which should be pretty big for Spook Pasito, as you can see. And as you might not know if you don't watch a lot of Marvel Rivals, there are individual team matchups that do change season to season. Rocket and Groot have been a matchup since Season 0, and they have not actually changed that at all since the game has been out. But other popular team-ups like Spider-Man and Venom have been changed on a season-by-season basis.
Interesting. So, well, we have opened our doors, and both teams now rushing to control our first point of Map 1. We are officially underway here between Shenandoah University and Northern Illinois University, as our first damage is now on the board. Kangaroo Feet in a new role here, like you said, on the Groot, with Bruh Jones up high, looking for a potential flank or a position in advantage, but little chip damage going both ways. I'm curious how you feel about, well, already we have a pick on the board. 2 kills, excuse me. Shenandoah already striking first and building an advantage for themselves.
Yeah, so similar to Overwatch, there are different composition types that you're going to pick that sort of follow the dive, counter dive, and brawl, poke, all of those different play styles. What we're seeing NIU currently play is a triple support meta, as Turtles is going to actually swap to the Mantis, so they will run triple support, 1 DPS and 2 tanks, where we're running sort of a variation of dive and poke. The dive would be in the Spider-Man and Venom, and then the poke would be more in the Groot and the Bucky we're seeing in the backline. So there is a little bit of a variation comp that we're playing this week and trying. Probably a little bit of a surprise to NIU if they did a little scouting ahead of time, because these are some picks that they probably haven't seen yet.
Interesting. Yeah, good variation here from Shenandoah, and so far, just through a couple minutes of gameplay, it's been working out as they've sort of held the line and occupied a good amount of space, not only on the point, but sort of pushing this NIU squad back into these chokes, and they're now forced to look for ways to break through, but it looks like Kangaroo Feet's not going to let them.
Yeah, so you're going to want to keep an eye on the Groot this series. Groot Ultimate pulls everyone together in a small area, and Bucky, when you hear again, Bucky's ultimate resets after he gets a kill if he's marked someone. So with Groot pulling everyone in a group and Bucky being able to hit everyone with his ultimate, that's going to cause some wombo combos in the series. You'll definitely want to keep your eye on.
Yeah, and that was certainly one of them. That last fight, I believe I saw Robot Ninja picking up 3 in the kill feed through that combo. So once again, Shenandoah taking the point all the way up to now 75% and still climbing without much threat, I might add, as sort of these staggered fights in this choke have not escalated too much more in favor of NIU, and they still cannot find their way in. They're going to have to regroup and look for one big push here at the end.
Yeah, and that's going to be their best bet. What I love looking at the Shenandoah roster has been their ultimate economy and these walls that we're seeing from Kangaroo Feet completely shutting down the team. We are going to see the Doctor Strange go in the air. Ultimate is online nearly at 99%. First ultimate comes out from Trina. We hear the I Am Groot on payload. Stand down. That'll be the enemy. Bucky along with Robot Ninja now diving their backline. Going to take 3 there, so unfortunately, NIU slowly falling, ticking away. The Rocket Raccoon will fall additionally on point, leaving both of the tanks to their own devices and at the hands of an adamantium arm as Bucky pushes forward, knocking him off point. Shenandoah going to take that first round.
Yeah, textbook stuff. It looked to me as pretty much from minute 1, very much in the driver's seat from the start. Shenandoah absolutely taking control and never letting it go. NIU sort of unable to really, at least from what I saw, regroup as 5 more than maybe 2 or 3 times. Weird sort of staggered fights costing them a lot of time when they didn't have time to get.
Pacing is everything in Marvel Rivals, and positioning with pacing will cause you to constantly go back to that spawn room over and over again, like we saw there. Yeah, I think our roster is just locked in tonight. They know the game plan. They know what they're doing. So the Groot walls in that map, going to Celestial Husk, they were incredibly comfortable with it. Something I pride our roster in is just being ready for any map that's thrown at them. When it comes to pick bans, we're not too concerned with any bans when it comes to maps because we can play every map proficiently. We learn every map. We study every map. So I love that. When new maps come out, you know, we know what they're going. We sort of have an idea of what to expect going into that week. Speaking of having an idea of what to expect, you should have a better idea of what to expect this round because Shenandoah is playing all of the same characters. It does look like NIU going to make a couple of swaps here and there around their composition.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, yeah, some new faces on NIU, maybe feeling that the previous roster didn't work out, or at least not on this point, but we get into it nonetheless. Nobody goes down until now as Shenandoah picks up 3-4. Just like that, NIU falls quick once again, and with only 2 remaining, forced to back up and look for flanks. And we'll see if, is that Star-Lord up there,
Yes.
Lil Moses?
Lil Moses is Star-Lord, yeah. So you actually saw in the kill feed, Senior Ant had a little icon next to their name, and then Lil Moses. Rocket Raccoon has a respawn beacon that he can put on the ground, and you can actually attack it as a destructible. If you take it out, then it sets it on a cooldown timer, but he can res teammates through that beacon. He can only do it once before it goes on cooldown, so you'll see many teams sort of play around that beacon. So Spook Pasito on our side will be doing it. There's a lot of unfortunate characters in the game that I think give people revive capabilities. There's a team up with Adam Warlock. Additionally, he has an ultimate that allows him to do it. So it is a little annoying to play around. It's almost like Season 1 Mercy Overwatch, where you kill the whole team and then they res the whole team again. Yeah.
They're all back.
Exactly. We also have seen a little bit of a GOATS meta sort of develop in this game, where triple support is very popular. Triple tank necessarily isn't, but we're all waiting for the patch to come out where that may be the case. Speaking of coming out where it might be the case, we saw Born Again right there, but that's going to be a Luna Snow ultimate to completely invalidate Robot Ninja's ultimate on point. Spook Pasito is going to be able to get a res on Kangaroo Feet. We're seeing it on our side. Ultimate's coming out. That's going to pull them towards the center of point. You hear the legendary, so that's Star-Lord up in the air trying to grab some picks for NIU. Cora Dawn is going to find one, but Spook Pasito going to knock down that Star-Lord a peg, making sure that they can capture this point, remain consistent in this map as they are currently at 78%, and NIU is forced to back up once more.
Yeah, that is a tough break for Northern Illinois. It looked like where the first time so far in this map 1, some momentum in their favor, a kill or 2 in their direction, but not enough sustained success to result in a point cap or really any more than those first 2 kills. Shenandoah hold the line very strong, and not only hold it, but flip it all the way around after some serious investment from NIU, and now scrambling to find their way back. They do force overtime with multiple bodies on the point, but you see it underneath the percentage, the numbers favoring SU, although now evening out as NIU starts to chip away and finally does force SU off the point and will get their first cap of this map.
Yeah, holy cats, Chris. That was some insane movement from our supports. Being a former support player, sometimes I like to gas up the supports, but I will say our support players that are on our roster are incredible at keeping people alive in moments where you're like, there's no way they live this. If you saw in that last fight, Kangaroo Feet sat at a constant 80 health out of 800 and fought that whole fight at 80 health. So incredible to see what they're going to do going into this fight as Venom tries to find a prey on the other side. Diving in, they have quite a bit of variety, there being multiple supports, but that's going to be the backline unfortunately falling apart, Chris, and that's going to force a regroup for Shenandoah.
Yeah, there was an investment there too of Robot Ninja's ultimate, I want to add, came up, was promptly used and died within a couple seconds. So another bad beat there from the Hornets, now losing 2 fights in a row and watching the bar tick up the wrong direction. They still have some good cushion ahead of them. Not any room to panic just yet, but NIU holding strong after what looked like a good 10 minutes of not much to look forward to.
Yeah, they've switched their comp around quite a bit. Counterplay is pretty much everything in this game, and so now we're having a hard time getting in here. That's going to be a double ult coming out from Soft on this Namor, picking apart the backline. And now sitting at 80%, Shenandoah's got to back up one more time for a final retouch. That's the hard part of getting on point here, Chris. All these spider webs on the ground, that's the Penny mines. And Penny can control an area very well with that ability. So on control points like this, it's very difficult to even get in for a fight. We are going to see the shields up come out from Invisible Woman, so that's going to kick off our fight here. We're seeing the Luna Snow retaliate for the side of NIU, trying to keep both sides up as much as possible, but that's going to be the Rocket Raccoon ult as well, coming from Spook Pasito. And that's a huge ult coming through for Kangaroo Feet, pulling everyone in. We're going to see 2 picks from that. This could be it for NIU on their first map. Shenandoah looking like they're going to take this.
Yeah, 4 ultimates for both sides. Even resources between these two teams, but Shenandoah finally the ones to strike back after a lot of momentum swung the other direction. Shenandoah leaving no doubt in the end, finally finding their one after all they needed, tied at 99%, one fight to win it all, and they take it. So map 1, although point 2 looking a little bit uglier than I'm sure they would have expected after the first point, a clean 2-0 and something to take into the rest of this series.
Yeah, you can get a lot of information off this first map. We'll say it's not as much information as what you can get off the next map, because the first map is a lot more control-based. You are playing on a point. It is King of the Hill style, where the other two maps are fluid. You're playing on a payload. You're pushing the payload across. You might capture the first point on like a convergence, but aside from that, the playstyle tends to be very different. You can slow a team down much more effectively in Marvel Rivals than what you could in Overwatch. Similar to like if you ever watched a Wrecking Ball comp, how Wrecking Ball could just fly through, touch point, stop point for a second, fly back through. You kind of see that same stagger approach with a Venom comp or a Penny comp due to their mobility and survivability. So that's where payload maps, in my opinion, as a rival player, is just a little bit more of a snooze fest because it's a lot harder to kill players. I think something that the game could benefit from is more heroes with anti-heal to stop sort of these prolonged fights that you're going to see time and time again. But nonetheless, they knew sort of what characters these players might play going into tonight. Now they have a for sure solidified information after that first map of what they're willing to try to beat Shenandoah, which is vital information in and of itself.
Exactly, yeah. Shenandoah holding strong in their comp through both of those points. NIU not so much, making some changes and finding some success along the way, but showing that they are a bit more fluid in their character picks, and all of that, both directions, is information that is very, very valuable the longer this series goes on. I want to circle back to your point about anti-heal. Are there characters in this game with anti-heal? Just not many, or are there
not very many, no.
Who does?
So, great question. So, the first character that really comes to mind is Blade, because Blade has 2 bits of anti-heal, but Blade right now in Marvel Rivals is not the best pick. His ultimate has anti-heal. He also has an ability that gives anti-heal. Doctor Strange also has self-imposed anti-heal. He has the Eye of Agamotto, and when it reaches 100, he has to throw it out and give himself a little bit of anti-heal. That's pretty much it in terms of the anti-heal department. There's really not a whole lot of characters in the game that have it as a mechanic that they can just freely use. So I'm looking forward to there being, especially with us being in a healer meta, I mentioned that you see triple supports quite often. I am eager to see more characters that have anti-heal because shields are already a function in the game. There's a lot of characters that have or give shields. Daredevil was most recently added. He gives himself a lot of shields. Iron Fist gives himself a lot of shields. So shields are already sort of a function that are in the game and a mechanic that's very prominent. We don't need more healers. We need anti-heal, which is crazy to say because they just keep releasing. I think the next 3 picks are DPS. All of them are DPS. And Ollie's, I don't know what's going on right. He's dancing. He's getting it. That is so funny for us. You can't see it at home, but we can see some of the player cams, and they're having a good old time dancing behind the scenes. Back to your point. Sorry, ADHD brain is just going crazy tonight, my friend. Yeah, there's not that many characters in the game that have anti-heal functions.
That is very interesting to me, and I think you make a lot of great points. And I guess my ADHD brain is going to go back to the team. It's exciting to see that the team is still in good spirits after a bit of a scary second point. I know it's easy as a team, especially a young team, a new team, to be thrown off when you get these game plans that are starting to work, and then teams make adaptations, and you go, what's happening? It's easy to fold in those moments, and this team certainly, not only based on their results, but based off, the cameras that we cycled through, looking pretty good. And we talk about it all the time with Smash Bros. And Rocket League, that vibes are a very real part of competition. And this team certainly looking pretty confident as we have our second map pick in. Officially, looks like Game 2 will be taking us to Central Park for the next game in this series.
Yeah, it looks like we are just hitting all of the Empire of Eternal Night maps, or sorry, the Clintar-esque maps, the Season 2 maps, the maps that were all null-based, which is a crazy move for Rivals to have as their second option, their second season maps in the game. I'm a huge Rivals nerd. I'm a huge Marvel nerd. I think I mentioned this on broadcast last time. If you ever go in my office, I just have like whole rows of Marvel comics because I grew up on comics. Nice. It's crazy to me that they chose the whole Null symbiote storyline and the whole Krakoa sort of mutant storyline with Hellfire Gala for Season 2 and Season 3 of this game. Those are like very advanced sort of Marvel stories that are told in most recent years that they were just like, yeah, we're just going to throw it in Rivals because the vibes are immaculate. So we're going to Central Park. What does that mean for us? Well, it means we're comfortable on this map. You mentioned the vibes. Our team has very intentional practice that we put into on our mental, on our physical, and on our actual mechanics. So when we practice the game, we're very intentional on all three. We know how important all three are. They say that esports is 90% mentality. So we put a heavy focus on that for them being a starting team because they're building that foundation. If they build a solid and strong foundation, a lot of young members on the roster, they can certainly rise in rank very, very quickly. I mean, you see on the screen right now, we saw some of them were diamond, some of them were plat. You might have saw it earlier in the stream as well. They started this year silver gold.
Wow.
We're halfway through the first semester and they're in plat diamond. So that should be enough to tell you that they're putting in the work. They're genuinely trying new compositions, trying new heroes, but always going back to what's comfortable when they need to. It does appear, though, we are moving into the pick ban for our second map of the night.
Yes, Shenandoah looking to continue this momentum and ride the high that they are on after a contested win in map 1, looking to continue that success. I do want to point out I do have a just on the note of ranks, I have a deal with Robot Ninja that if he makes it out of diamond, I believe is what I told him, that I would buy him a skin. So I am also invested in the ranks of this team. So that's exciting to hear that they are growing, but also a little scary for my wallet. But that's a problem for another day.
Yeah, they have not beat Danny or I in rank yet this year. I will rue the day that they beat us in rank, but they're not quite there yet. They got GM1 to beat. Danny and I both narrowly missing Celestial the last few seasons, hoping to get there soon. Marvel Rivals ranks are just odd, man. Not as odd, though, as this pick ban. What are we doing
Walk
here?
me through what you're saying. I see a what's it called? A protection, a lock of Cloak and Dagger from NIU.
NIU wants that Cloak and Dagger. Like I said before this series, they have like 5 people that play Cloak and Dagger, so it does not surprise me that this is going to be an anchor pick for them, and they can swap people around on their team. That's another thing about this game that's really interesting is because of the variety, you could have multiple people playing different roles because it's not role locked. So one person could play Cloak and Dagger one round, and another person could play it an entirely different round if they wanted to choose a different composition. I was saying what the hey to the Jeff ban, but they banned the Rocket after, which was the ban I thought they were going to go for. Jeff just kind of seemed a little bit out of left field. And then we do see the Invisible Woman ban come out as well. That is surprising, probably because they saw Doughboy on the Invisible Woman. But Doughboy, as you can see, has Cloak and Dagger leveled all the way up on their character. So they're not too concerned if Cloak and Dagger's up and available on the board. Bro Jones, going to be back on that Magneto. Spook Pasito, going to be on the Luna Snow. Orpheus, which is our resident player Christian, will actually be substituting in for this round. Will be on the Jean Grey, the Phoenix. Robot Ninja on the Bucky, Doughboy on the Cloak and Dagger, and Kangaroo Feet locking it down once again on the Groot. For the side of Shenandoah, for the side of NIU, looks like they're going to swap some things around. Soft is going to be on that Iron Man. Senior Ant will be on a Scarlet Witch. And then we're going to see a Luna Snow and Cloak and Dagger backline with a frontline consistent of, well, just the Doctor Strange, because it looks like they're running triple DPS and Low Moses is going to be on the Namor, which is an interesting option when pushing here. Either they're going to find much success out of these flanks, or they're going to get full held at this corner because Groot plays exceptionally well here.
Well, let's see what the outcome is. Kangaroo Feet looking to keep the outcome in Shenandoah's favor, but a new map, new game mode, and a new style of play from NIU as they change up their draft just a little bit, and their character selections, as you walked us through. So far, though, 3 kills in favor of Shenandoah mean that you might be right. It looks like they will be held right here at this line, and it's only a matter of time before we wait and see if they will break through it or if Shenandoah will just hold here. But clock's ticking as we are already, it looks like, a minute into this game with little to no progress coming from NIU.
Yeah, they'll have 4 minutes, and like I said earlier, this is like a hybrid, right? They have to capture the point first, and then they can push the point from there. You can see there's 3 individually indicated spots in the middle of the screen. Oh, there's a maximum pulse coming out. That will catch one being Spook Pasito, but it looks like our Cloak and Dagger will stay alive for now with ultimate in hand, and is unfortunately going to fall to the Iron Man, not popping their ultimate, and that will probably be point.
Well, massive flank coming from Soft, and a big ultimate landed onto one of the supports, but not both of them. What felt like a sign of life from Shenandoah, ultimately not enough to maintain the points. So step 1 now behind them for NIU as they look to now move toward the push section of this map, and a couple extra minutes added to the clock. NIU starting to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, they'll have to do something about this Iron Man here pretty soon, taking out both their supports on the push. Really hurt the roster there. We're seeing some Fortnite levels cranking 90s here from Kangaroo Feet. Kangaroo Feet loves playing this group, man. Sitting with ultimate as well. We're about to hear the signature line, I am Groot, come out. Oh, there's Eye of Agamotto, and they're going to look for the back line. Unfortunately, they're just going to find the Cloak and Dagger. We are one. Now coming through us against the world, we're now hearing it on the opposite side. This is a little bit of that defense I was talking about earlier, Chris, where they can just hold down this point and kind of sit here, pop in and out, really stagger heavily. Now, they're going to need to match picks if they want to keep up the defense, but unfortunately, they're... I'm trying not to give away information. They are. Thank you. They are falling apart in the back line.
Yeah, it's a good effort there to buy some time on defense and sort of kill the play as long as possible. But like you said, sort of struggling to match the pace from NIU, and now looking to change that narrative as they do find their first. And here comes Robot Ninja looking for more. We'll find one from his ult. No reset just yet. And I don't know how long that timer is, but I'm going to assume that window is now closed.
Yep, it's 6 seconds. And it can be indicated in his ultimate icon in the bottom right-hand corner. When it comes back up, when he has ult reset, it'll pop up there. You're super eloquent. You get your education here?
I sure did. And you can too. SU.edu.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug. Just like this shameless backline endeavor we're starting to see from Shenandoah is they're pressuring this backline a little bit more. Orpheus swapping over to this Punisher is going to create a little bit of space here. We are going to see the Doctor Strange is trying to teleport through, get the rest of the NIU roster through this portal. Unfortunately, the rest of the roster's already here. And so Cloak and Dagger right there, as you saw that ultimate, we saw the Iron Man ult in the backline. Cloak and Dagger's right click makes everyone invulnerable for 1 second.
Oh, that seems balanced.
If you attack, you get yourself out of it.
Oh,
so
okay.
Our backline has to play and understand when they hear maximum pulse, everyone just freeze, because Rose is going to right-click and save everyone. But both times that we've seen the maximum pulse, that has not happened. Everyone's been like, they're attacking, and just starts spamming abilities.
All right, so far, a bit of a lack of poise from Shenandoah, maybe some lack of communication, but Synergy is going to have to figure itself out if SU is going to continue their streak through one map. So far, though, NIU doing a heck of a job of pushing this this defense further and further back. Shenandoah able to hold the line at certain points and sort of buy some time for themselves. They have killed the clock a little bit, but still 3 minutes left and only one more checkpoint to hit. NIU not in very bad shape as they continue to push this point ever closer to that finish line.
Yeah, similar to Overwatch 2, you get more time when you capture points. So they've actually bought a lot of time for themselves. They just got to watch this Iron Man trying to take these flanks and punish that just like that. Orpheus doing a great job of holding down the back line. Now this bridge, Chris, pay attention to this bridge. We are going to have both a Groot and Doctor Strange play on this bridge. It's very narrow. One of the sides leads off into a pit that you can die on. It's like the edge of the map. So there will probably be a lot of ults thrown on this bridge. If previous games would be a clear indication of that. We're seeing the Namor ult come through. Not going to find anyone good. Is going to stun the back line, putting some pressure on the front line a little bit more. Spookpacito trying to keep the rest of the team alive because that's Brud Jones and Doughboy falling apart in the front. Kangaroo Feet will find some way to even this out. Robot Ninja following suit. Wasn't able to grab the Iron Man before the ult went off, but did grab them in the time it took for the ult to get to the ground. This is also why this corridor is so important here, Chris. The Groot walls just block off the team. I think, well, it doesn't matter what I think. This ult was incredible. He pulled them all together, and now we're seeing Orpheus with an ult of their own, trying to bleed through the cloak and dagger. But the rest of the team trying to push forward and challenge this. Agamotto say no. Doctor Strange falling short of that one, and Shenandoah all but confirming their dominance on this bridge.
Yeah, clock keeps ticking, and I mean, you said it, we were going to see a lot of ults at that bridge, but Shenandoah playing at their own pace and doing everything in their power to not even let the play advance to the bridge. Robot Ninja here now on a nice flank, sets up a play for himself, but after the hero efforts from Orpheus and Kangaroo Feet, clock has ticked under a minute, and SU has all of a sudden poised themselves quite strongly to hold this thing to the rest of the clock.
Yeah, Orpheus is going to take out Punisher, and that is ultimate coming through, or sorry, the Iron Man is taking out our Punisher, and therefore their ultimate is up. There will be no one to really challenge them as now NIU moves to the bridge, trying to take a little bit more space. Kangaroo Feet ultimate could be huge here as they look to move around. I am Groot on point. Very little follow-up, unfortunately. Not able to get any picks on these supports as they are going to keep the front line alive, and Shenandoah has to keep that reverse button in motion in order to maintain their ground.
Yeah, tough break there from Kangaroo Feet. Hits both backline with his ultimate, but had a couple primary shots blocked by the payload, I believe.
Yep, that's what it was.
And not, like you said, not much follow-up from the team means they get away unscathed. And now we forced to overtime, but NIU pretty comfortable in that position based off how these fights have been. 2 dead on the side of Shenandoah means that they've got serious numbers in favor of NIU because not many kills have been going the other direction. Soft finds one more on to Spookpacito. Brud Jones and Orpheus quick to follow Kangaroo Feet, looking to make one more hero play, but it won't be enough. The point reaches the finish line, and NIU strike quick and hard at the start of map 2.
Yeah. It was a fight through and through to get to the end, but NIU, kudos to them, they did it, they played together, they played around this Iron Man exceptionally well. Soft on this pick has been, I think, the most dominant we've seen any player so far this series. This triple DPS on the push really worked out for them. I anticipate, though, Chris, we'll see some swappage on defense, probably swap to another tank. They preferred that Penny earlier, and Penny is incredibly good on this point, so I would not be surprised to see a Penny come out from NIU.
Yeah, we saw a lot of points on this map that are very tight corridors, very tight choke points.
Yep.
That I have to imagine a Penny would thrive in, with occupying space with all those webs and traps on the ground. So.
Yep. is Penny, you can set down these mines, and your traps on the ground inherently also give off mines. So it's just a bunch of denial of space. If you step on it as a support or as a squishy, you're going to get blown up immediately. And those mines can move across the web, so they can move across to you and your location. Her right click, which is a stun that is a projectile, is also off cooldown every 5 seconds, and she can use it to extend her mine area by 2 additional webs. So there's quite a bit of counterplay that you could have in a Penny. I think the 2 best things in any hero shooter are displacement and CC. So if they can play around this Groot really well and they can put up walls intentionally, we might see a very dominant Shenandoah going into this round. But and it looks like NIU has opted for the triple support. Don't fix it if it ain't broke, right? And they are going to try to hold the point with 3 DPS.
Yeah, Shenandoah already finding more success off the rip than NIU was able to do, getting through that bridge and onto the point, or at least at the edge of the point, as now Kangaroo Feet makes his way across the threshold, planting his walls and trying to create his own space for the rest of the team to follow. And so far, that's been a successful story. Corridon going down, Spook Pasito in response. Another kill onto a DPS from Shenandoah, and one more means that numbers heavily favoring the Hornets as they already chipping away at this point. Not quite able to secure it just yet, but more and more kills, more and more bodies hitting the floor for NIU, and this thing is all but locked.
Yeah, I think Shenandoah is going to push this hard and fast, similar to what you mentioned about NIU earlier. So you see this portal in the sky. Let me go ahead and explain that for you. So we got a Doctor Strange on both sides. Doctor Strange has a non-ultimate ability that allows him to teleport across the map. He can put that portal up, and I believe it's there for about 10 seconds. People can come in and out of the portal freely, both you and your teammates. And since ultimates are audio-based in proximity, what we'll see a lot of people do is ult before they enter the portal, they'll then enter the portal with their ultimate prime so that you don't know that they're ulting before it's too late. There they used it to try to defend the point a little bit faster. I love seeing this change that we've seen since the start of the map, Robot Ninja on this Star-Lord. It's really not only shutting down the backline, but more importantly, shutting down this Iron Man that they fought so hard against in that first push.
Yeah, absolutely. Soft now with that ult again that has caused all kinds of problems for the SU backline. Now need to keep an eye on that and sniff out any flanks, as we can already see. He's looking for another one, but Bro Jones keeping an eye on him, stepping very far up in order to keep an eye on him, and the team ready to support and make sure he doesn't get punished for it. So as Soft once again sneaking off the right side of our screen, we'll see if that comes back to bite this lineup. But Bro Jones taking the initiative himself and finds a huge ult onto the entire NIU roster. All bodies dropping, and NIU now left with only this Iron Man that snuck away early, but the ult goes wide and forced to run for his life. 17 HP in a dream. Will get out, but not without major damage to the rest of the NIU lineup.
Are you sure about that?
Well, yeah, I guess I take that back.
Yeah. Do you know, Chris, let's see if you know an Overwatch lore, Overwatch knowledge. Do you know the most overpowered thing you can do in Overwatch? Yes, you're right. It's backup. The most overpowered thing you can do is back up in Overwatch. The same is true with Marvel Rivals. If you get picked, you're having such a bad time because every moment in this game counts. So the pick that they got in that last second on Soft was incredibly helpful for the roster. We are going to see Senior Ant switch off of the Scarlet Witch they had earlier. Now they're on that Storm pick, trying to get some flank up in the upper right-hand corner. And while it was a valiant effort from NIU to defend, it's looking like it's all but Shenandoah pushing this to the end with point. Okay, Dr. Strange doesn't make it there in time. So that is a count 'em 5 minutes and 16 seconds that they have banked time, because you're given a minute back if the other team also didn't push it. So while they had 4:16, both teams were given an extra minute.
Fair enough. Well, a strong and swift response from Shenandoah to make sure that any doubt is left squashed, but now still needing to prove it one more time as we move to overtime. Again, just felt like NIU never really able to recover from that Doctor Strange ult in the choke. Just throwing them on their back foot. SU maintaining pressure all throughout, forcing the point all the way up. And again, yeah, by the time they were able to regroup, it was way too late. So NIU falls quickly, and now with a massive differential in time, you have to think that SU would come out with such a major advantage like this, but NIU not out until they're out.
Yeah, not out until they're out. And I mean, just like Overwatch, you have at least 3 maps, or at most 5 or 6 if you get a tie, maps that you could play. So NIU has a lot of time to reevaluate their strategy, and they have a very, very deep pool of players. So we could see some substitutes come in, moving in between rounds. We could see some different strategies come out, like I think we're about to see now. Soft swapping over to this Magic, a dive character, and Senior Ant playing more of this counter dive Storm. The rest of the roster remaining the same, and they're actually going to burn their Doctor Strange all immediately, trying to get on point. Brud Jones is going to hold down this choke and try not to let them push from both sides so our team doesn't get pinched here. Let's see what happens. They're getting a lot of fight on point. They decided to go a Groot of their own. The walls are coming up, and when you're in this much of a cluster, it's very hard to determine what's your Groot walls and what's their Groot walls. Do see a couple of picks out on the field. Both Spook, Pasito, and Doughboy will fall, meaning the Shenandoah roster does not have any supports to defend this. With 16 seconds left, how they manage their healing off these health packs will be crucial before Doughboy and Spook Pasito return to base.
Yeah, very important. Next 5 seconds and any extra, as we will inevitably tick into overtime as Corridon makes his way onto the point, but quickly falls at the hands of Orpheus. Now Shenandoah with an opportunity. Robot Ninja goes airborne to take out Senior Ant, and just like that, overtime still on our hands, but NIU in shambles. Robot Ninja still without the heals, like you mentioned, does go down, and Brud Jones left by himself and can't make the hero play. So what looked like a strong start for Shenandoah lacked the resources to maintain their success, and Spookpacito hauling to get to the point and does make it there.
Well, there's a reason the Doctor Strange ult is on, or the Doctor Strange portal is online now. We have for Brud Jones, and they're probably going to get in here with this Doctor Strange ult, trying to hold point as much as possible. Agamotto coming through as he gets through the portal. Unfortunately, not going to find much. Both supports find their way back to point. Now it's a matter of prioritizing targets, which we're not seeing. Now, while the point has been taken, Chris, overtime clock is still ticking. So every second, it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. Now you're in C9 territory. If anyone falls off this payload while that overtime clock is within a sliver of its time, that will be the map. So now it's a matter of understanding who your anchor is going into here and not getting wiped.
Absolutely. We'll see if NIU has the coordination built into their team, as Robot Ninja behind enemy lines here, getting a lot of damage, but not much to write home about, as a lot of the healing able to counteract that. So Robot Ninja forced to group up with the rest of his team and respond to a dive from Soft. 2 ults come out from NIU. Again, C9 territory here. If any of these players are off, or if all of the players are off the point for even a second, for even a split second, this map will end. But so far, NIU holding strong, clinging to the point like it's their life. But finally, 4 Ben go down. Lil Moses ripping the ult at the very end, looking for the hero play. It won't be there, and just like that, Shenandoah get out of a sticky situation, but still have plenty of time to work with on their own.
Yeah, big gamble coming out from NIU using the Doctor Strange portal right out of the gate. They had 1 minute on the board, and generally you're saving those portals, Chris, for the end of the round when you don't have much time to get back. We saw Brud Jones use it to try to stop and get back on point. Unfortunately, at that junction, Shenandoah was a little behind and staggered, so they kind of all went through the portal one by one instead of going in as a team. So at the end of the round, because they used it so early and it has a 3-minute cooldown, NIU was left, as you mentioned, clinging to the point with all they could and hoping. But Shenandoah still has a second to collect their thoughts here, as they have 5 minutes on the clock. They still have to capture point. They still have to push it farther than NIU. So it's not completely not solidified yet. NIU could still hold certainly here. Got a question from Prod for you here, Chris. Do you think Lil Moses wrote the 10 Commandments?
I probably wrote a few of them.
Oh, sorry, not just wrote them, but raps them. You think he raps them?
I see. He probably can, and in a probably pretty impressive fashion.
On God?
Yeah, dude.
Literally, get it?
I get it. Well, all right. Shenandoah loading back into the map. A lot of time to work with, but a lot of work left to do. As we see not many hero changes from Shenandoah. Confident in their picks. The Iron Man is back for NIU. Has been putting a lot of work in for this team, but not in the last point specifically. So, bit of a change of pace once again, a return to form for Soft, and we'll see if it's enough to maintain his success as he does find a pick onto Robot Ninja and already set Shenandoah back just one mark to start things off.
And there's where the stagger begins. Robot Ninja falls, Orpheus follows suit. So that is going to be a incredibly tough stagger for Shenandoah to deal with. We'll see how they manage here. They do have quite a bit of ultimates. They're going to be able to build fast at this choke point, Chris. So it's a matter of just keeping the team up and alive, dealing with these penny mines and finding the picks where they can.
Yeah, these Peggy Mines putting in work as Soft once again trying to look for a flank, but quickly sniffed out there by the rest of the SU squad as he makes his way back to the point, back to hold the line as much as possible. Kangaroo Feet in a little deep, separated from the team, and there comes the Iron Man ult, but quickly shut down by Brud Jones. No casualties on the side of Shenandoah, and that's 3 kills heading their way. Make it 4, and they're not looking to stop just yet. Lil Moses does get the ult out on Peggy, looking to buy as much time and occupy the point, but it won't be enough. One more Doctor Strange portal to try and make a last-ditch effort from NIU, and it might just be enough, but one more kill onto a support from NIU means advantage still in favor of SU.
Yeah, we're seeing ultimates galore now. Luna Snow, Cloak and Dagger, they're using everything to try to hold on to this point. The Doctor Strange portal coming out from Soft, who swapped over to Doctor Strange in Order 2 portal, was a phenomenal switch. They're now sitting with 3 tanks, 2 supports, locking down this point. Shenandoah having to scramble a little bit on who they're prioritizing for picks in order to capture and move on. They're going to find a few, but not without dropping a few themselves. Now it's a somewhat even fight, I would say, if they had all their supports, but they don't. And that will be all she wrote for the first point. Now, here's the real challenge, Chris. NIU got really staggered right there. So, because they don't have a Doctor Strange portal, they're going to have to get their stuff together, put it in a bag, throw it over their shoulder, and get to this choke immediately.
Yeah, and almost no ultimates online for NIU, the highest percentage at 60. So yeah, truly scrapping together whatever they can as SU already charging this point, barreling to where they need to be, and NIU does get to their choke, get to the bridge and try to set up a little bit, but Orpheus and Brudjo's all over it, pushing them all the way back, and the point now just meters away from the finish line. If SU can just win this one, and they do, the point reaches its destination, and Shenandoah take map 2.
Yeah, with 2 minutes left on the board and a confident move from Shenandoah, but NIU was able to make it the full distance, so it does leave me scratching my head a little bit for this next map as to whether or not we'll see. This is a momentum-based game, but we could see momentum shift in NIU's favor as they held their own on that map significantly well.
Absolutely. The overtime, a very strong showing from NIU, but that really did boil down to the first offensive possession from Shenandoah. That was a steamroll. That gave them 5 minutes to work with. At the end of that overtime, Shenandoah still had over 2 minutes of leeway there. So while they do storm back and win that overtime pretty convincingly, even if that was not the story, even if that's not what I was saying to you, we'd still be in game and they would not even be very pressured to make a play.
I agree. I don't know. I don't think broadcast caught that on stream. That was a 61 bomb from Robot Ninja.
Oh,
61 eliminations. What an incredible showing from our resident DPS player, putting up the numbies on the scoreboard. yeah, now, we see the players getting up, moving around, stretching, very important in between games as they prepare for what could be their final map of the series if they want to take this in reverse or in sweep fashion. We see the janitor outside. He's already parked his car. He's got his mop, his broom. He's ready. It's a matter of whether or not we're going to let him in the building.
Exactly. Shenandoah winning 2 maps, although pretty close maps, I have to say. I mean, if you talk to me, before this series, and we talked in the pregame about the numbers and how this season just hasn't quite gone NIU's way, they have very much made this competitive. And while there have been a couple moments where it looks like this is a very one-sided affair, there have been, I feel like, just as many moments where I could say that the other direction, and just as many moments where they are just neck and neck. So NIU making the Hornets work for it, but ultimately just not enough to get over that hump and get that one on the scoreboard.
I have seen enough underdog stories to know that mid-season, you can't count anyone out. If you're saying, oh, we're going to whoop this team because they have a completely massive loss record, we still have 3-4 weeks of competition. What are you talking about? There's a chance that we could be sitting at the same score line that they're sitting at. So everyone deserves the same respect that you would give a top-level team at the very top of the scoreboard mid-season that you would give the bottom-level team in the scoreboard each season.
Absolutely. I think it helps to it helps a young team like this to have that sort of mentality, especially in a season like this.
Well, it hurts your mentality, right? If you go in and you're like, we got this team, right, no big deal, and then you lose, that's a little bit of an egg on the face.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's the best thing that can happen to your team, because that is the most rude awakening that a team can experience, is losing a game that they never should. But if you're able to avoid it from the get and convince your team that every team is worth preparing an equal amount and to go in and take care of business and know your job and do your job, that's a great position to be in. So Shenandoah find themselves at 3-2, looking to extend that as well with one more map win over this very chippy NIU team.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about those maps, right? We saw first domination, and then we moved into that map we just saw was a convoy map, and now we're moving into a convergence map. I have that backwards. Sorry, we just had convergence. We're looking at convoy. So you just escort the payload. You do not have to capture a point. So as soon as we start out of the gate here, whatever the next map they decide, the payload will be automatically moving.
Fair enough. And that's thankfully something we've already seen both of these teams have an opportunity to do in the form of the convergence map that we just watched. But it felt like holding down that first point was a bit of a strong suit for both teams. Both teams playing defense very well in the first minute of the game before the point was capped. And obviously, part of that game mode, you're correct me if I'm wrong, you're never really expecting to hold that point down for the entire clock, right? It's just a matter of how much time you can eat before it happens.
It really depends on the composition. I mean, there's some compositions where you can expect, based on what they're going to play, if you can shut them down, you're going to have a good time. Groot Penny plays very well on that map, so I was actually surprised to see that NIU was able to take any. But speaking of taking any, let's take some stats. Let's actually just look at the stat line we had in the last series. As you can see there, Convoy Central Park, we won that 5-4. A couple of information here, 7.6 KDA on that Robot Ninja. The Star-Lord was immaculate. The Bucky was immaculate. The resets were phenomenal. You can see the final hits. 26 final hits is crazy. 20 final hits on a tank is even crazier.
Yeah, I did notice that, and I want to point out on the opposite side, Soft leading
Soft
the
go
R screen. Exactly. Soft does go hard and went pretty hard there with 28 final hits, but the KDA not as flashy. Again, very important kills we were seeing from especially the Iron Man as well as... Who's that? It's not Aquaman, but who's
Namor.
Namor, yeah, there you go. Multiple, just important kills coming out from Soft. And that takes us to our next map. Stats ultimately favoring Shenandoah as they take map 254, and that means we're going to...
Araco.
Nice, I'm glad you took that.
I gotcha. No worries. Yeah, Araco, sister island of Krakoa. Oh, Oh, am I back? Araco, sister island of Krakoa. This map is a fun one. This came out last season. Once again, team comfortable on it. Not too worried about it. We'll see how they do. I'm going to touch back on that point. We saw the Namor had 28 elims. I'm going to bet. I'm a betting man. I'm here to bet that 26 of those eliminations were supports. They were just straight up targeting the supports constantly. And so the supports, I think, might need to play their lives a little bit more going into this next series, potentially. Maybe communicate with the rest of the team. Hey, I'm getting dove. I need you guys to turn around, please. But regardless, Shenandoah able to come out on top in this series, still 2-0. They just have to carry the momentum going into this final map, being Araco.
Yeah, and I agree with you, right? I kept referring to those kills as important kills, and usually, I guess, I didn't even know it when I was saying it, but important kills translates almost directly to support kills.
Yeah, support kills.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And that's not a consistent formula, or not a winning strategy for SU, or for anybody, really, if your supports are going to be going down that often and that...
You know what we call that?
Effortlessly. What's that?
We call that in Spanish.
What's that?
No bueno.
No bueno. I couldn't have said it better.
You got to keep your sports up.
Yeah. So SU going to have to change that story going into map 3 here as we go into our third draft of the night. Multiple Hellas being shown from Northern Illinois, but I highly doubt that will get through.
I think Northern Illinois is maybe catching on that they're on a broadcast, and they said, wait a second, what if we all pick Hella here? Which is funny. I mean, we are whitelisted for anyone watching at home here at Shenandoah Esports, so myself and Chris, while we would love to be in the middle of the arena and giving our team all the information, which we would never do, but we're back in the broadcast. Yeah. We're back. We're like 3 rooms removed from the team right now. They have no idea. We're in our own world. They're in their own world. So if you are at NIU, you're watching our stream, have no fear.
Drop us a follow.
Drop us a follow. Also know that there's no info that they're getting or garnering from this. But yeah, drop a follow. Say hi in chat. We'd love to see you, and hopefully see you in playoffs if you're here. Hella.
Yeah, still first off the board from SU. That one absolutely not getting through. Another Jeff ban coming from Shenandoah, and more Moon Knight bans from Northern Illinois. This looks like more of the same to me.
So are you familiar with the movie Sharknado?
I am not.
Okay, so there is a old sci-fi movie named Sharknado. It's like a B-tier movie, very, very popular. What I and a lot of other people like me in the Marvel Rivals community love about the developers for this game is their genuine passion for the community. So they have a team up between Jeff and Storm. If you use Storm's ultimate, which makes you a tornado on the map, and you use Jeff's ultimate in conjunction, it creates Jeff-nado, a play on Sharknado.
That's kind of cute. I can get with that. But no Jeffs to be seen here today, as hopefully Shenandoah looking to make this the last game we see. But pick bans out of the way, and final selections coming in now as one more player left. Yeah, you do. We load into our maps. We have our final decisions. Well, maybe not final decisions, but 40 seconds left for changes to be made. Orpheus back on Punisher here, which seemed to find a lot of value last map, I have to say.
Yeah, Orpheus on this Punisher. Love seeing, like I mentioned, since it is a new team, we're seeing really everyone get a little bit of playtime, and Orpheus swapped in on the last one in this Punisher capacity, and it's worked very well playing the hit scan against some of their more counter dive characters. Now, if you look at it, they are running a poke counter dive composition, or poke dive composition again. Northern Illinois this time, focusing their efforts on Emma Frost. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little scared of this team composition in front of us, Chris. They got some slobber knockers on their roster.
Well, we'll see if slobber knocking is what they're doing as we load in, and plenty of damage coming out both directions. Lots of skirmishing to start, but as you see, a lot of work left to be done as SU does start to fall back. Getting that early hold just for a couple seconds, but not amounting to too much. Joes, holding the line as much as he can, as the kangaroo feed on Groot now out of the picture, but doing a lot of work up there by himself, getting a lot of damage, racking up his percentage on his ultimate up to 56% as we see, but kills coming out on the right side of your screen. A revive there from Senior Ant to keep the numbers in Northern Illinois' favor as they continue their momentum forward, as we saw a lot of damage from Shenandoah, but not enough to hold the payload back.
Yeah, we gotta see some TLC for the supports, as this Magic is just training in the back line, having their own anime training arc on our support line. Unfortunately, not really getting much value out of the group. We will see Kangaroo Feet swap over to the Thing to try to counter this Emma that is just straight walking past him and all of his walls that are coming up. And now we're just seeing a massive stagger come through from Shenandoah. We will find a pick. Jones really trying to halt the momentum on this map. I will say that Araco is a very momentous map. There's a lot of momentum that can be swayed in either direction, so we'll just need to see the team play this well and play this together. As I say that, Kangaroo Feet diving the back line far away from any of the supports that are ulting, unfortunately going to fall. And now we're seeing Robot Ninja trying to pop the Star-Lord ult above point, while the Cloak and Dagger below from Northern Illinois drops their carpet, keeping the rest of the roster alive and well as they continue their onslaught.
And yeah, this has been Armageddon from the start. From both sides, but seemingly very Northern Illinois favored, as they are already halfway through to the finish line. You see up the top of your screen, progressing even more, upwards of 60% through this objective. So one more ultimate comes out from Northern Illinois, from the Doctor Strange. It finds its value, but no kills coming from it, as Robot Ninja finds one in response, and finally SU swinging back and finding some kills of their own will hold the line at about the 60% mark, but it took a long time for them to be able to set up this play.
I would certainly hope that with 3 ultimates out of the chamber as well, they are able to hold the line here, Chris. They used a lot of resources to get there, and now they have a Doctor Strange portal behind them they'll have to deal with. Bucky shouting in the backline as well, trying to keep the rest of the roster up. The Thing trying to block this portal so that the Rocket can't jump through, but finding themselves in a sticky situation while the backline is getting completely decimated. We're watching this portal play, and no one is currently on Cart, so Cart is still regressing. They're going to turn around and grab it to start its momentum again. Something I maybe should have mentioned before, Chris, in Marvel Rivals, different than Overwatch, as long as you have control of the cart, it will keep pushing on its own without you touching it. Albeit, if you're in overtime, someone has to be touching the cart.
Interesting. I kind of like that, actually. But not right now, as a Shenandoah fan, as this cart has been chugging and has now officially crested their second checkpoint. So, again, chipping away at this distance. Very much Northern Illinois favored as we get back into these skirmishes. Again, a lot of damage coming out both directions, but not much poise from this Shenandoah defense, as once again Kangaroo Feet goes down, potentially backline exposed. We'll keep an eye out for that, because that has been the winning formula for Northern Illinois, as they have 5 ults online and 2 coming out now.
Yeah, and there's a quad coming out from Turtles, going to get a lot of value off of it. Unfortunately, we're seeing the group play here from Kangaroo Feet, but the rest of the team not really able to support it. They're giving up a lot of space while Kangaroo Feet's trying to take this space, stop this payload. They're going to have to play with them pretty much immediately if they want to see a change in this series. Leaving them to their devices in the front line is just not going to work, regardless of who is diving our back line. Oh, Agamotto coming through, but both supports popping their ults, unfortunately layering them on top of each other, meaning that we'll use a lot of resources here in this fight. We'll need to see some picks as we see Robot Ninja pop their first ultimate. There's their second. Will they get any more value? There's the third. Gonna find a couple of more. Cloak and Dagger ult coming out. There we go. There's a fourth. Oh, unfortunately not finding the Emma, but that will be a team wipe, Chris.
Yeah, still great value from Robot Ninja while we always want more. Still cannot complain about that, and took a good amount of ults off the Northern Illinois roster, right? When we saw that quad come out from Turtles, they had, what was that, 5 ultimates online and used 2?
Yes.
At the start of that last fight, they still had 4, and SU still managing to come out on top is huge news for the Hornets in the long run. A lot of time left on the clock, 2 minutes left as Lil Moses looking to match the success Robot Ninja had, but taken down by Robot Ninja means that that's 1 DPS off the board, and SU with numbers now and an ultimate still in their favor. Numbers favoring SU. We'll see if it's enough to find success.
I'm certainly hopeful that they will. The walls coming through on this Groot, and the positioning is the best that it's looked all series from SU. Turtles will find Orpheus, and the backline will suffer a bit, but the team giving the space that they need as we're going to see that Cloak and Dagger, or sorry, not Cloak and Dagger, Invisible Woman ult online, keeping the rest of the roster up. Kangaroo Feet will fall, but there's another ultimate from Robot Ninjas. They're going to try to find more value. We will see a counter ultimate come through from the Magic, plaguing the backline. Spook Pasito throwing a one of their own. That means no support ults left online, and with 1 minute and 7 seconds left, Northern Illinois will push, making it the entire way.
Yeah, it was a heck of a last stand there from Shenandoah as they finally started to find their footing towards the end of that map, but just not enough to stall the clock out completely. So still have an opportunity to respond as we load back into our draft. Pick bands remaining the same, and we'll see if Shenandoah makes a major change or not, as that map went pretty, or that first push, there you go, went very, very in favor of Northern Illinois.
Oh, and the roster's talking. They're trying to cook here on offense. We're going to see a couple of swaps. The team's communicating, I'm sure, with each other what they feel is going to be a good choice here. This is just one of those junctions, Chris, where it's very difficult to say anything because I have a wide variety of opinions about how things are currently going in the decisions being made. However, I do think that Shenandoah can replicate what they did in the last map here and make it even further than and faster than Northern Illinois did. They are encountering a couple of problems with their backline being plagued by this Emma and Magic, so we'll see if they have an answer for it as they begin their push.
Yes, Shenandoah looking to change the narrative once again, and the narrative from last map, mind you, being that both times they had the opportunity to push their cart, they were very lethal when in charge of the objective. So looking to recreate that success just one more time and try to get this thing rolling much faster than last time. And so far, heck of a start here as Kangaroo Feet barrels forward out of spawn in the first 30 seconds here and has not let go of his W key.
Yeah, so I think that's the goal here now that they're on push. They're just going to replicate the model that they saw Northern Illinois do. Kangaroo Feet's going to lead the charge. It's hard to do anything against a charging Groot. Bruh Jones, the thing about... Here's the thing.
Oh, hey, that took me a second.
So the thing about the thing is that he cannot be displaced. He can't be moved, similar to like a Reinhardt in Overwatch 1. So because he is able to dash in, he can get a lot of damage out very quick. But also can get blown up, and they will switch to a composition that favors, hey, run at me, do what you need to, we're just going to open fire, as Soft already has Executioner just swapped to this pick upon dying just a second ago. The team is going to back up, not realizing they're still in line sights of this Punisher, as Northern Illinois pushes beyond the payload and tries to hold SU at this junction. SU, we're going to see Kangaroo Feet, sneaky adventure around the backline, try to take out this Rocket Raccoon in the backline, finding the other side of an Emma, and unfortunately dying immediately after dropping ultimate, but that will be a storm, and Robot Ninja getting a 5-piece. call KFC because it should be illegal how cheap that was.
Wow, I'm so down for KFC right now. Shenandoah storming back, no pun intended, Robot Ninja with a massive response after Kangaroo Feet falling after just getting a little too ahead of himself, separated from the team, but Northern Illinois takes advantage of that, but leaves Robot Ninja unattended to, and he takes full advantage. So Shenandoah finally get to that first checkpoint, and now need to maintain that momentum all the way to the finish line. We'll see if they get more time on the clock from future objectives, but so far, that first checkpoint taking a bit longer than Northern Illinois did, but Shenandoah went on defense, found some success later on, and we'll see if Shenandoah is able to mitigate that on the opposite side.
Yeah, we are going to see the Invisible Woman ult come out to keep the team poised here as Turtles tries to get a few with theirs. It's so painful to see these health bars get so low, Chris, and no one falling. That will be Kangaroo Feet falling to Cora Dawn, putting it in a 5v6 situation. We do hear Born Again. That is Orpheus, who's made the swap over to Adam Warlock. I had mentioned earlier that ultimate, it does resurrect players on your team, so as long as you see that icon in the top left corner, whoever dies will be resurrected. So what the other team did was they waited out the Orpheus ult on the Adam Warlock, and then they went in with their picks. Eye of Agamotto coming out from Cora Dawn on the front line will mean Shenandoah needs to back up yet again before they can begin their push. That has been a minute that we've now wasted here as they fought under this bridge, vying for control.
Yeah, the choke points this time around very much favoring Northern Illinois as we once again see ultimates come out. Lil Moses with a big one there. Soft finding a kill of his own Turtles on the board as well, and it's been just little picks and little picks here and there, here and there. Northern Illinois just knocking one or two off the board just like that. Two more off the board, and this stagger continues for SU. Robot Ninja now soon to follow as the tanks are back in the fight, but again, too little too late as this team has not been able to sync up on this point since the first checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting the picks, and the picks that they're getting are the supports, which is how they're just able to hold this. Shenandoah just continually finds themselves staggered because the supports are unfortunately dying in the backline. There's not much of a backbone there for the team when you don't have supports keeping the rest of the roster up. But we're also seeing Shenandoah trying to turn that table now, DJ style, and take out the Northern Illinois supports, and they will do it. But Chris, I'm looking at my watch, and the time is not aligning here. They gotta put the pedal to the metal and get 4 on this payload, which is the maximum number you can have on for the speed to increase.
Interesting, yeah, and worth mentioning that even if SU does not beat the clock, as long as they get to the finish line, they're giving themselves a chance. So if you're SU, I have to assume that's all you're looking for right now is get to the end. Forget the clock and just get the ship into the harbor. So, minute left on the clock as we approach the second checkpoint. We will see that number go up at least a little bit, but likely not enough to beat Northern Illinois as we see more ults coming out, especially from Lil Moses and Senior Ant. But again, nobody down just yet. Spook Pasito's ult wears out and Doughboys comes online. But finally we have our first pick, and it's in favor of SU. Make that 2, and Shenandoah finally striking success, finding gold as clock keeps ticking, but they've got a shot to punch this thing in.
Yeah, they just got to get on this payload and make sure that they're taking picks and fights on their own ground. What I've liked to see here is the non-hesitancy from the supports to swap around here. So we saw Orpheus, yeah, you know, a little cheeky wind scythe kill from Robot Ninja. We saw Orpheus switch over to the Punisher and then immediately switch back to the Adam Warlock. I want to see more plays like that, similar to this group play. We saw both of the supports both of the DPS will fall there. Bit of a premature ult from Robot Ninja, but that will be Senior Ant's beacon that will res the Punisher soft on the other side, and with their ultimate online, This is going to be a tough position to be in. While we are rezzing under the bridge, Punisher just has to pop the judge, the jury, and the executioner. And if there's no answer for it here, it's going to rip through the Shenandoah backline under this bridge. We saw Robot Ninja fall. Hopefully that's all we see fall, as the executioner is now completed its cycle.
Yeah, Kangaroo Feet did go down in all that chaos and was revived by the Adam Warlock, so the ultimate finding some value, but you said it, Robot Ninja does go down to the Punisher ultimate, so the payload has stopped once more, and the clock has ticked under a minute. So again, the goal no longer to beat their time, but just to get to the end. And how about this from Bruh Jones? Massive CC onto the back line, and he's not done, as this point might turn the corner, and they've got an opportunity to punch this in.
You want to take a guess at what the ultimate's called?
The thing.
You know what time it is? It's clobbering time,
It's clobbering
buddy!
time.
It's clobbering time, buddy! That's what he's doing in the back line. He's clobbering them, giving them the old 1-2. We talked about some slobber knockers. We're seeing them now in the game. Spook Pasito gonna pop the Luna Snow ultimate. Cold as ice, trying to keep the rest of the roster alive. Robot Ninja now Vortex inbound. Time to sit on your back porch and watch the show, because tornadoes galore are gonna plague the back line. But fortunately for NIU, Trina's Omni gonna have their carpet inbound, keeping the rest of the roster up, and that will be most of, if not all, of the Shenandoah roster falling here. They're going to need a cheeky play to get back, but that was all she wrote. Northern Illinois taking a map off of Shenandoah.
Yeah, triple zeros on the clock in that last fight, and that was very NIU favored, so what looked like a window of opportunity for SU quickly closed by Northern Illinois, and they strike back cleanly with a solid map win there over Shenandoah, and we can now get a look at the players as they, I hate to say it, look a little rattled after that one.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine I'd be a little rattled after that one too, honestly. I think they do a really great job of communicating, though, and I'm confident that in between maps, they're going to figure it out here and determine sort of what they weren't able to in the time frame of game, because game is very high-paced, very fast-paced, hard to tell what's going on in the moment when you're having to stick to your own lane and figure out what you're doing. So Captain Robot Ninja here, Isaiah, we're watching right now, I'm hopeful can get everyone aligned before we move into the next map. Probably won't be as lengthy as the prior maps, as we're moving back into domination, so it will be a control style point for map 4.
Yeah, and I think that's good news for SU, as we saw, map 1 ended up, first point, very commandingly in favor of Shenandoah. Second point, pretty even, but still coming out pretty SU colored, so in terms of game modes, I would say that's good news for Shenandoah as they return back to form in map 1, hopefully. And this team, again, looking to replicate that success, but albeit about 90 minutes after they did it the first time. So this team probably feeling a little exhausted, right? This has been a lot of gameplay, but still, hate to say it, early in this series, right? There's a lot of Marvel Rivals left to be played, or at least there could be if Shenandoah is not able to take this next map quickly.
That's the thing about new teams as well. You brought up a very interesting point, being endurance, and that's something that we've talked to the roster all season about. That's something that you're going to see at any esports events. And esports events, as we know, working them and attending them, they're not always the most efficient things where, you're just playing your games one after another. You could play a 2-3 hour series and then ice yourself for, 3 hours and then play another 2-3 hour series. And then immediately after be told, hey, you're playing another 2-3 hour series immediately afterwards. So I think I am happy working with the team this semester, looking at them being taken into more Game 4, Game 5 situations, because that is the best preparation for playoffs. Playing one under pressure of, oh my gosh, this is not a sweep, we're not just taking this right now, but two, playing under that endurance test of really seeing who is in between maps, stretching, getting up, drinking water, staying hydrated. Those are the things that will keep you playing at your peak when endurance comes knocking at the door.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well to, be able to put all of these distractions aside as well. It's okay to be rattled from losing that map after how this series has gone, but to not sit on it, I think, is a huge deal for this team, and be able to put it behind them and move on and play this first map and go 1-0, or play this next map and go 1-0. So we'll see if it's enough. But as we await the next map pick, I'm curious. Do you have? Well, so does the losing team pick the map?
Every round, the loser side does pick from the remaining maps in that type.
So is there, now that SU
and then
will
the winner select side?
Okay, fair. Now that this is the first time that Shenandoah has dropped a map in this series, this will be their first time picking a map of their own. Is there, I mean, I know you said there's a lot of pride in being able to play any map, but is there a map that this team really likes and has seen a lot of success on?
You know, I would say, looking at how they've played this series thus far, and it looks like we have the map already, but I would say, looking at this series thus far, my prediction is that they would play Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda would be my guess. Not having any other information here, Crits. But before we get into the specifics here, let's take a look at other specifics, being the metrics from the last map. Let's look at some of this data here from Burnin' T'Challa.
Yeah, we'll take one more look back at that map 3 again, mostly.
But we didn't play on Burnin' T'Challa. A little confusing. That's fine. Let's walk us through these characters.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same numbers-wise. Soft, very high up in the finals kills. Robot Ninja actually soaring over Soft in final kills this time, but not enough to be a winning formula, as, again, Shenandoah just struggling to thrive in that craziness in those fights.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the rest of the roster for NIU really kicking into gear. Lil Moses, Soft, and Turtles kind of sharing the limelight when it came to final hits, and unfortunately, Shenandoah just not having the same capacity for final hits. We did see Kangaroo Feet pushing forward quite often to try to get those support picks, so probably a majority of those final hits are the support picks that they were able to get in the map, but wasn't anything compared to Bruh Jones and, more importantly, Robot Ninja, who just swept through that map. We do need to see a little bit more gumption, a little bit more oomph come out in the kill department for Shenandoah if they want to take this next map.
Yep, and the next map will be Burnin' T'Challa, as I'm sure you were able to glean from the stat sheet before it said the right map.
Yeah.
Yes, Burnin' T'Challa, you are correct. Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, as you said. Correct prediction. Wow, well done.
Yeah, you know, what can I say? Definitely didn't have the information presented in front of me whatsoever. All I gotta say is Wakanda forever, man.
Hey, I mean, can't complain about that. You think we'll see a Black Panther?
Maybe. I think, who's playing right now? Robot, Bruh Jones. Have they swapped anyone in? So it looks like they are going to swap in Ultra Lee for Orpheus. So I plead the fifth as we get into pick ban.
Yep, smart. A change of pace here from Shenandoah once again. The losing team, usually the one feeling the pressure to make a change, whether that be in strategy or in lineups or in any other capacity, something's got to give. So Shenandoah making the change this time around, and Ultra Lee subbing in for, as you said, Orpheus. So
good save. Good save.
We got there. So pick ban's now underway. More of the same, I might point out, from Shenandoah, with a Hella first off the board and Spider-Man now locked for Shenandoah.
Yeah, I mean, what you can see here in the prediction, I see Shenandoah very likely probably moving forward with a lot of this comp. I think I'm cutting in and out here a little bit. Trying not to mess anything up. Okay, good. Glad. It might just be me then that I'm hearing in my own ears. You know, I'd got to separate all the thoughts from your thoughts, from my thoughts, from my other thoughts, from my other thoughts, from my other thoughts, and I continue on. Man, There's other thoughts as well. There's a lot of thoughts going on in this head, man. Speaking of, I don't know what thoughts are going on through either of these teams' heads. These pick bands are kind of...
we're
bussing.
cooking.
Sheesh, brother, sheesh.
We're cooking. Both of these teams looking to make a statement here with, I said Shenandoah changing the pace a little bit, big pace in the form of putting Ultrali in. But what are you seeing in the pick bands that's throwing you off?
There's a character that we keep banning, and I'm not sure if that is the character that is giving us the most problems or will give us problems based on the picks that we are pushing right now. But I am excited to see Bro Jones on this Captain America. You can see that he also has maxed out this character. This character incredibly comfortable on, can dive that backline exceptionally well. And even going into this map, while you don't see, and maybe at face value, that they're all very chipper, I can tell that spirits are revitalized going into this game. Everyone's excited. Bro Jones is just geeking. He gets to be on the captain, turn the chair around and say, listen, kids, I got some news for you.
I do know something that I picked up on from watching this team, just bits and pieces throughout the year, is that he's pretty fun to watch when he's on Captain America.
Yeah.
That's sort of the pick that I have come to associate with him as a player. So we'll see if he's able to prove me right on that one as we tick the clock all the way down and kick off map 4 as we are back on this first game mode. It's been a while, but we're going to go back to controlling central points. Northern Illinois, though, looking to maintain their momentum with some of their own picks, looking a little different from last map already.
Yeah, Kangaroo Feet looking to just shut down their entry point here so that it's quite easy to take control of the map when it unlocks in 4 seconds. We'll see if the roster responds to the supports being dove in the backline by the Magic, so that point can be taken for Shenandoah control. They will now fight over it. They are going to play that back part of point. Unfortunately not together. Bro Jones going to find a pick on Senior Ant. That's going to be a support for a tank. So that's going to mean that Tina's Omni is working overtime to keep the team up. And we are seeing them push off of the point. At this point, Robot Ninja and Bro Jones just tearing through this backline.
Yeah, again, more scrappiness to start things off. Lots of just Armageddon. Let's kick things off, and just whoever wins first, and then we'll get things rolling. So far, Shenandoah coming out on top once again to be the first one to cap a point, which they have been each time in the previous 2 points of this game that were played, as now we have a bit of a pick play set up here between Ultrali and Bro Jones, and it does result in a kill on Soft, who did not go down without a fight, but ultimately does go down, period. So numbers favoring SU as they push up just a little bit.
Yeah, we do see Kangaroo Feet struggling to get a setup ready here, just looking to wall some people off, step off of this choke, maybe back up to point. Ooh, so you can see you set walls up in and around the choke, because the way that Groot works is when you hit someone while they're in proximity to the wall will hit them too. So you really want to trap people around walls and hit them when they're close to them, doing a lot of damage. That's going to be a lot of damage. Speaking of, Agamotto coming out from Northern Illinois, picking 3 on point, and all but certainly changing favor for Northern Illinois. They only utilized 1 ultimate to take point there, which was a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, resources absolutely favoring Northern Illinois, and again, we already have a different story coming together on this map from map 1, right, which was very SU favored. All the way till the end when Northern Illinois was able to win 2 fights, but not enough to take a point. This time around, Northern Illinois very much putting up a fight early on, not letting SU run away with it early and to a point where they just can't come back. And now the stagger continues. No ults spent. Senior Ant does go down without spending his, but Soft now with the ult online as well. Northern Illinois poised for a lot of success, but 5 ultimates up as well for Shenandoah. I've used the word Armageddon quite a bit throughout this stream, but I've got a hunch that this next fight or 2 is going to be crazy.
You're absolutely right, and this map, game mode, playing on domination is going to be all but vital for our roster to stay up, and that's going to be the Black Panther now taking out both of our supports in the backline, unfortunately falling. Yeah, Armageddon would be very correct for this, Chris.
Yeah, still no ult spent until now. Robot Ninja the one to pull the trigger, no pun intended. Lil Moses the first to drop, and one more. No, never mind, excuse me. Senior Ant with a revive onto Lil Moses, and Ultra Lee the next to fall. So Northern Illinois still poised for success in this fight as ultimates are still flying out and no kills going out either direction. Lots of damage flying all across the board, but Aya Bagamoto comes out from Korra Dawn, finds one in Ultra Lee, but he rips his ult, and Spook Pasito also ripping their ult. So Armageddon is upon us, all the ults coming out. Another huge stun onto Bruh Jones and Ultra Lee will result in the death of Spider-Man, but not Bruh Jones, as he is continuing to get out as much damage as he can and just be this fly on the wall that Northern Illinois is struggling to deal with.
What am I watching?
I don't know.
What am I watching? I'm getting so worked up just watching this Captain America try to kill this Rocket Raccoon running around point, and it's just not working. We now have to burn an ultimate because overtime is ticking, and it's 99%. What are we doing?
Senior Ant with another res onto Lil Moses, but again, kills finally starting to stick for Shenandoah with all 6 members up and alive. They will cap the point and watch the ticker tick up in their direction. 50%, and finally we get to take a breath. We get to settle down. Northern Illinois up to 99%, but not in the win column just yet.
Yeah, you know what I have in common with most race car drivers? I'm about to crash out, Chris. That's what I have in common with most race car drivers. All right, so we're fighting on point. We do see 2 picks in the back line. Both of the picks that they target, and the first picks in the fight from NIU will be the support line from Shenandoah. So support taken out from Shenandoah, all but cuts the knees off at the kneecaps. We're going to see Cap try to go in on this Bruh Jones, try to save point, but that is going to be Northern Illinois taking this first map of 3 maps on Burnin' T'Challa.
Well, how about it? Northern Illinois absolutely storming back over the course of this series, taking a map, almost taking a point in map 1, then keeping it real close in map 2, forcing overtime, forcing a competitive overtime in map 2. Still not enough. They finally get on the board in map 3, and then here we are, map 4, and they take their first point. This has been a tale of 2 halves, and so far this second half has been coming up very much Northern Illinois.
Certainly, yeah. It's been a tough series for Shenandoah. They came out of the gate incredibly strong, but as the game has progressed, Northern Illinois has determined where to poke at Shenandoah, and it is in the backline. There is all but no support for the Shenandoah backline, so it is completely falling apart at the beginning of every single fight, and you can't really fight in this game without your supports. So Shenandoah is going to have to turn around and figure out how to support their backline a little bit better in order to save this series. Kangaroo Feet now swapping over to the Psylocke, maybe to get some picks of Shenandoah's own on Northern Illinois' backline.
Yeah, major change of pace here from Kangaroo Feet, swapping from the Groot, very frontline heavy, onto Psylocke. So, see if it's enough to change the narrative. Ultra Lee also switching off Spider-Man. So Doughboy Ultimate comes out, and we already have some serious chaos coming out to start this, but again, 2 picks going Northern Illinois' way. A response from Shenandoah means this fight's not over yet, but again, a scary story, a scary pattern in the long run, as we have not seen much change, much adaptation to avoid these scenarios from SU.
We've seen no change and no adaptation whatsoever, Chris, and the only change that we've seen has been swapping Kangaroo Feet on or off of these heroes. Ultra Lee now on this thing could spell some trouble for the backline. I certainly hope it will. We do have Clobberin' time online. Just got to take care of the one on points. They will find one themselves, and they got to just laser focus their sights on both of the supports in the backline of Northern Illinois if they have any shred a chance of winning this series.
Yeah, Kangaroo Feet coming very close to that ultimate, and it is now online. So 5 ults up for SU. Resources very much favoring SU, and sure enough, instantly rip. They find a pick onto the front line for Northern Illinois. Not what you were looking for, but it's enough to create hopefully some success as they still maintain the point and shove Northern Illinois very, very far back off of the point and continue this stagger.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to killing the front line at all. I'm not opposed to taking out anyone on the team. It's just if you don't get the kill and they kill your back line, then you're not really going to have a good time. So here we see Darkchild coming through, getting frozen and taken out immediately. Great prioritization of targets from Spook Pasito, who was able to land that freeze on Luna Snow the moment they saw the Magic dive the backline. 5 ultimates online from Shenandoah. They are now looking to hold down this point. They just have to remain for another 40 seconds to tie things up as they do find themselves down 1 game. Clobbering time comes out, and we see a fate come out from both the Cloak and Dagger as they're trying to hold down point. And once again, their primary 2 targets, they are going to take out Doughboy. That leaves Spook Pasito alive with the Luna Snow keeping everyone up on point. And they're going to stay up at least for that 82-ish% range, probably falling at around 85.
Yes.
Now 20% up for Northern Illinois as they look to hold.
Yeah, return to form here from Soft as well. Back to what was working in map 2 especially. We saw the Iron Man cause quite some problems for SU's backline, as you've been saying. The moment SU starts to find some success of their own, Northern Illinois returning to their roots on this sort of flanky dive comp. And you saw up at the top of your screen, Soft looking for, sniffing out an angle, but ultimately caught by Ultra Lee and put into the ground. So an opportunity for Shenandoah to move onto the point, and they do just that. Lots of damage ticking down. Lil Moses, another one to drop at the hands of Spook Pasito. 2 ultimates online for Northern Illinois, but one of them dead and back in base. So Shenandoah does have advantages here still, but has not claimed the point yet. So percentage still ticking in favor of Northern Illinois, even though this fight has been pretty Hornet favored.
Yeah, they're going to take point now, and that's going to be a pretty big stagger from Northern Illinois. Expect a Strange portal to come through as this Strange comes up in 3 seconds. We'll see if it makes it in time. It likely won't here, Chris, as he only has a few seconds to put this portal down and get everyone through. No one's able to touch here, so Shenandoah will take this point in their favor, tying up our domination phase of map 4. They will finalize this at Warrior Falls. I think one of the best designed domination maps in the game.
Deep breaths from everybody here, as this could be it for NIU. 1 point away from potentially dropping this series, where they have stormed back quite a bit, pulled a lot of momentum from nothing in the early stages of this series. Shenandoah very much in the driver's seat now, eyeing down, still a ways away, but eyeing down a reverse sweep if Northern Illinois is able to pull this one out and tie this at 2. But 10 seconds await as we await the start of this map, a pivotal map, a crucial map for both of these teams.
So you'll notice, and I think it's maybe my detriment that I haven't said anything yet this series. The cool thing about domination in this game type, Chris, is you carry ultimates over round to round if you don't utilize them. So you'll see going into this round, Shenandoah has 4 online. Northern Illinois has basically 3. They're going to get this Strange ult incredibly fast, so it should be a very even first point, slightly favored in Shenandoah side, as Ultra Lee, unfortunately, gonna flub on the run and have to run around to get back to point. Clobbering time comes out. Robot Ninja finds the first pick on Cordone. That's going to be the ultimate. Senior Ant will find a res on Cordone, making the fight even yet again. 2 ultimates in the bank for Shenandoah. 2 been used. Northern Illinois pops 3 of their own. Maximum Pulse paired with the Eye of Agamotto. they're just throwing everything at the board. They really want this first point. After noticing Shenandoah popped a few, they said, hold up, we're just going to throw ours, make this as even as possible, take the point. Notice we do have one online, and if Shenandoah can regroup, get to point fast enough, and try to push another fight, this will be in their advantage, and we could see a fast swap here, Chris.
Yeah, NIU getting real comfortable on this point now as it has ticked up to 15%, but just like that, a strange portal comes through and Soft in position to get a lot of damage off pretty safely. Doughboy with the ultimate coming out, but no kills in favor of SU. Finally, one goes down. Corridon, the first to fall, but quickly revived by Senior Ant. Lil Moses, the one to find a response for NIU, but no revives in favor of Shenandoah, meaning that could spell trouble. Robot Ninja does get on the board, and SU looking to cap this point once again. Points ticking up to 40% and still climbing as SU does take the point and start building some time of their own. But NIU got some serious value off of that one fight win off the start.
Yeah, they did. They got 40% value. Take them to great value for that one, Chris. Oh boy. So yeah, we have a couple ultimates online on the side of Shenandoah. Point control going in their favor. You can see it's been brought up a couple of times on and off broadcast. Do want to mention, if you've not been able to tell yet, Marvel Rivals does have destructible environments in the game. This is one of those points you want to destroy the pillars on either side because it makes a nice little ramp, as you can see here, to the high ground. Both players can utilize this ramp. And then behind you, that open spot on the map, that is all just off the map. We're seeing Ultra Lee now dive the backline, try to get some value maybe on the supports. We're going to see the ultimate come out from the enemy Cloak and Dagger. That'll be 3 staggered, count them 4 staggered for Northern Illinois, and that'll be Soft falling very early, which spells great things for Shenandoah if they can keep Bruh Joes alive. Unfortunately, everyone gets incredibly split. No one is nearby, and they have to back up now.
Yeah, not only do they get split, they split away from the point. Northern Illinois takes the point very quickly to start that fight, and then creates chaos around the map. Soft taking a lot of damage there, but Robot Ninja not able to finish the job on this high ground. So he'll get one more opportunity, gets a headshot onto Soft, more damage coming out, and he will find his pick. So numbers favoring Shenandoah. Here come 3 ultimates out from SU. Lots of kills on the board, all the numbers coming up SU. Can they take the point? Northern Illinois doing a great job of stalling as much time as possible. They get the percentage up to 80, but big investment pays off for Shenandoah. Can they hold it against 5 ultimates now?
Yeah, they certainly need to, Chris. That was a masterclass, though, not allowing any Northern Illinois ultimates to get out. They got their pick. Immediately off the pick, they said, now we go. This is our window. Go, go, go. They send everyone in. They grab a couple more, and at that point, Northern Illinois just has to cut their losses. Bruh Jones waiting, knowing the portal locations, going to try to catch them at this portal location as everyone comes through. The Phoenix ultimate gonna dive the backline. Trina's Omni gonna go down. That's gonna be the Cloak and Dagger on the side of Northern Illinois falling early in this fight. That's gonna spell some danger for Northern Illinois as we see our very own Robot Ninja go up once, come down again, count him a second time, again, count him maybe a third time, not that time, but 94%. It's going to take a miracle for Northern Illinois to get back to point, touch in time, and hold for the rest of the roster. Unfortunately, they don't make that happen, and that will be Shenandoah taking the W 4-1 on this wonderful Tuesday night in October.
How about it? A gritty win for SU. And how about that last fight as well? Mitigating those ultimates, frankly, absorbing those ultimates. We started that fight seeing 5 ultimates up for NIU, and I look up after all the damage was done, only 1 ultimate remained for NIU, and I look and all health bars are full for Shenandoah. So a massive, massive fight to close this out and earn their 3rd map win in what was a chippy, scrappy series, but still coming up Hornets.
Some might say a slobber knocker.
Yeah, you could say that. In fact, it has been said.
It has been said a couple times. Yeah, it was very close back and forth, Chris, for sure. I think they played the end very well. Man, sitting on desk is so stressful when you're involved with teams in the way that I am. But very glad to see the roster take the dub. And in true kangaroo feet fashion, we're done with the map, and he's eating. He's stuffing his face. You love to see it. I'm honestly not too far behind them, if I'm honest.
Hey, I hear you. Yeah, I'm ready to go get a snack and pack up because, like I said, I'm going to Atlanta tomorrow.
True. You're not packed?
No, but I did my laundry right before this, so I just got to go throw a bunch of it in a bag and I'm ready. But I've got some stuff to do. I've got a busy 24 hours, and I feel you, kangaroo feet, because I'm ready to go eat a banana and get to work as well. But I would say he's earned it, right? A strong showing from this team, a strong showing from a lot of these players, individual efforts. Really, the shining moments in a lot of these games, especially, I think back to map 2, Kangaroo Feet on that bridge on the Groot, finding the ult on the back line, these individual efforts in various moments. Robot Ninja with the pick in that last fight to set up success for the rest of the SU squad. A lot of these players can create success for the rest of the team, and we're starting to see more and more of that as this team continues to barrel through their season.
It's been a phenomenal season so far. Tonight is another notch in that belt. Certainly going to have a lot to VOD review in this upcoming week. I would hope, as Coach Danny wraps up the evening with our roster, and we wrap up on the desk so you can peel out and eat your banana.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do we have an interview? I will wait and see. So we will be hanging here for just an extra minute as we await on our potential interview coming in from the winning team, from our star of the series. We wait to see who that is. But
yeah, curious who they decide on.
Yeah, so, all right, since we've got a minute now and the series is over, I'm curious, were there any things that you wanted to say earlier in the show that you couldn't? Any secrets you want to spill now that it's behind you?
I can't, because the season's still going.
Fair enough. That's probably
VODs are a thing. Players can look back, look at the VODs. That's the tough part about it. I can't touch on really much. The big thing that I will touch on this series is the players' ability to spin things back around. Historically, the 2 losses that our team has had under their belt have come from getting reverse swept and swept. Like I said, Rivals is a momentum-based game, and once you lose your footing, sometimes it's hard to regain it. So I was very proud to watch the roster come together in the face of adversity and overcome that tonight. I thought that was a great series. I won't be mentioning any names because I don't want to show any bias, but who do you think was the MVP of the series?
Oh, hard to say. If I, as a admittedly less experienced Marvel Rivals player and commentator, I did find myself keeping an eye on Robot Ninja for a lot of the series. I felt like a lot of the successful fights came at the hands of Robot Ninja, and obviously that is the job of a DPS player like that, to go out and get kills. But it's a lot easier said than done, and I felt like he was getting a lot of kills in crucial moments to keep this thing alive when like you said, the supports are dying and sometimes the front line's overstepping. You see these Achilles heels moments come out. I felt like Robot Ninja was the steady hand in a lot of these games.
I think that's a fair and balanced assessment of tonight, and you should give yourself more credit, because that was a great analysis of what we saw tonight.
I'm in.
So, yeah, absolutely. I think that's fair. I think I definitely could see why you would give Robot Ninja the edge there. Robot Ninja, being Isaiah, is the captain of the roster, so both being a DPS player and a captain can sway a lot in these fights. Also, a confidence booster. You're the one getting the kills, so if you're able to grab those kills, you're going to have the most information firsthand. Tell the team to get in there or get out. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we saw this series. Very, very, very eager to look back at this VOD review with the rest of the roster and sort of dissect what they could improve on and what went wrong and what went well.
Yeah.
Before we get to that point, though, we got some statistics we should take a look at from that last map.
Yes, we have. We're going to take our one last look at the final map of this series on Burnin' T'Challa. SU coming up big when they needed it most. Robot Ninja again. Well, no, not leading the field in final hits. Excuse me, Ultra Lee down there with 27, making work of the NIU backline, as we saw in those later fights, diving hard. But I mean, a lot of the final hits, I have to say, pretty low for NIU, given how close that series was.
Yeah, the notable final hits that were low on that last one was Soft. We saw Soft all series with the big final hits. I'm going to attribute that to Robot Ninja being on the Bucky. The Bucky, when you throw that E out, that big projectile you'd see him throw out, it actually grounds anyone in the air. So just kept Iron Man on the ground, kept him as ground man or dirt man for the series. So it was a little tough. Soft ended the series soft, unfortunately. So Lil Moses with 14 final hits, shown through in that final map for sure. But as you mentioned on the Shenandoah side, Robot Ninja, your faith was placed in the right spot. Ultra Lee also coming through on this thing, did a phenomenal job diving that backline, killing the crucial support picks they needed for the W tonight.
Yeah, and we can take a look back. It's been a long night of Marvel Rivals, but a successful night of Marvel Rivals for Shenandoah here, as we had the hiccup right in the middle, as you see, but ultimately not needing a 5th map or a 6th map, with a convincing win in map 1, scary wins in maps 2 and 4, but ultimately SU with the confidence and the poise to get through it. Are you a football guy at all?
I used to be a big football fan.
Are you familiar with Nick Saban?
I am.
There's a quote that I've heard from him multiple times, and it's that level of poise can't be taught. Right? Mm-hmm. You're gonna come out of this game and you're gonna think, good Lord, we've got a lot to look back and work on. Mm-hmm. But the good news is when your back's against the wall and your team's able to hold it together and still perform, that's something that can't be taught. So that's a massive takeaway, I think, from today, to not panic in the face of some serious adversity, because everything else can be fixed. So
absolutely.
That's my takeaway from today.
Yeah, you want your learning to be lawful, not chaotic. If it's chaotic, it's very difficult to piece together A, B, and C. If it's lawful, you can say A went wrong, but B and C was fine. But yeah, we'll take a 3-1 W over the Timberwolves in Northern Illinois this evening, and it looks like we're going to get our post-game interview with your MVP.
Yeah, looks like I was right, as our player of the series will be Robot Ninja. 171. Am I reading that right?
That is 171 eliminations tonight and 25 deaths, putting their KD at a 7.9 with over 100k damage. That is 6 digits we're seeing on the screen.
Yeah, how about it? I mean, I said it, the steady hand of the team so far through some serious adversity. This was the consistent performer, and we, thankfully, have him in the booth here with us as we bring you back on camera. There's 3 of us. Robot Ninja making his debut back here on the mic. How are you feeling after that? What's the team emotion like? What's going through your head right now?
Let's just say I was very stressed on that last little point there. Bucky, once I start standing on a point, as my team knows, there's a high chance Bucky is not going to move. So if Bucky says we're staying, we're staying. But no, really, team-wise, it's excitement throughout. I think a lot of stress is off our backs. We had to take a few deep breaths as we went through. But definitely, I have to give this one to a team effort with Kangaroo Feet with his Groot ults, and then Ultra Lee with the thing, just being able to make the switches where they counted most.
Yeah, here's the thing. 27 final hits on that last map was pretty crazy. What was going through the team's head between map 3 and map 4, making the swaps necessary, putting Kangaroo Feet more on that Psylocke pick and swapping Ultra Lee onto tank?
So as we went into that last map, we tried, as you saw, we tried to do the same thing. And then we realized they've eventually caught on. They know Kangaroo Feet's Groot. They're ready for Ultra Lee Spider-Man. So we said swap it on them, make Ultra Lee the tank, and make Kangaroo Feet our DPS because they hadn't seen him. And I had noted, when I made that call, I actually noted that they banned Psylocke, which means they were afraid that Kangaroo Feet was going to show up as Psylocke eventually.
And you said, no, that's not going to happen.
Right.
But what if?
So I am curious. One of your assistant coaches here was telling me about the losses that this team has endured have come at the hands of a reverse sweep and then a sweep. So you put your team in a position where you're up 2-0, and then Northern Illinois takes one. What's going through everybody's minds in that moment? What were there any talks between the teams, between the coaches, between everybody to say, hey, let's calm down, let's settle this thing and just go out and play our game?
I know, especially for me, it was definitely every time if something like that happened, especially after a loss in round 3, we all said, deep breath. We talked about what we noticed. We said to the team, we all agreed we were just out there throwing ults, so nothing was sticking. So we were like, we got to breathe and get back to what we were doing. As you saw, we had like Storm, and we had a little bit of changes than what we normally play. But I think the team mentally, they recovered well, and I think it attributed because of those 2 big losses we had early in our season, being able to recover our mental a lot better kind of led us into that victory for round 4.
Yeah, certainly being a new team, that's a hard lesson to learn very early because you get through that forming phase I was talking about earlier. Everyone's bright and chipper, and then you take the first L and you're in shambles. Oh my gosh, we lost. What are we going to do? So watching everyone, turn things around in the series was certainly very special to watch. As captain of the roster, how has this season been for you? I know that this is your first time captaining the Marvel Rivals roster because this is the first time the roster's been around. So tell us a little bit about what it's been like on the back end for you going into tonight in the season.
For me, it's definitely been a lot of fun just getting to play Rivals with people that enjoy the game or want to get better at it. I know I came in, I was like, I'm probably just going to make Bucky for the team. I was like, who else would I play? And I've actually ended up learning a lot more characters than I thought. I've brought in...
I'm going to stop you there. No, I'm just stopping you there. Just because you're about to say what characters you play. I'm going to stop you there. If you want to see what characters he plays, tune in next week, and you'll see exactly what characters he plays.
Yeah, just that chance to grow and just have fun. I know we all have laughs, and we're sharing all these memories on the team.
Absolutely. I'll ask you one more question before we wrap things up. Now,
I have one more question.
Oh, fair enough. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. My question is a great question. So I heard that you took 3rd place in a Campus Mario Kart event this week. How did that prepare you for our match tonight?
In all honesty, I'm not sure, but it definitely, I think it reminded me just to have fun in the games, even when I'm competing, if anything, because I know I came in and I found out, like, through the stream while I'm racing, I hear, this guy was the fastest in the time trial. So, I'm technically 1-2. Okay. So, but yeah, definitely to stick with the fun, even in the competition.
That's hilarious. I did not know you guys could hear us. That's very funny to me. All right, yeah, I will ask you one more question before we wrap things up. Now, 4-2 on the season. You guys continue to cement yourselves at the top of this group. What's the outlook for the rest of the season? What are the goals? Where does this team want to see themselves in the next couple of weeks?
If I know my team, we still want to have fun, but they're a team that wants to win. If anything, Chris, they're looking to go all the way. As much as we can, as far as we can, we're going to push to get that win all the way at Nationals.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming back here. Congratulations on an impressive win here tonight over a chippy NIU squad. But that will do it for us here tonight. 10:30 local time. We're all going to go to bed here soon. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to drop us a follow on whatever platform you're watching on so you don't miss out on any of our esports action, any of our future Marvel Rivals action, as well as our Varsity Rocket League and Super Smash Brothers teams. I'm Chris Clayton. This is Chase Newcomb. This is Robot Ninja. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might just change their life, and we will see you next time.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the Esports Arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the Esports Arena is the Esports War Room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.